off to the races.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Off to the Races is here 1 week later, and we are here to talk to you about some supporting actor categories. But before we get into our specific picks, I just want to ask, how are we doing today, guys? Good?
We're doing great. I mean, at least I am. I'm excited for this one.
Yes.
Well,
I'm great too.
1 week removed from the last video, we've all seen Saltburn. Very quickly. Thoughts? Quickly? Shawn?
I don't know if I can do it very quickly. I love this movie. I think Saltburn is fantastic. I get why people are divisive on it and why some people really hate it. But at the end of the day, there is just something about that vibe. It is so devilish and twisted and provocative. And, I just keep wanting to come back for more.
I get that. Dan, quickly, what do you think?
It took me a few days to get my thoughts in order. I liked it or loved it or hated it. I really liked it. I wasn't even let down by it when I first saw it, but I liked it. It was witty. It's not perfect, but it's just like you said. It's a vibe. It's just so fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a vibe. Some days I hate it. Some days I love it. That's how it is. And if there's one thing that I came out of that movie thinking, it's all right. No spoilers here. Let's get on to the Oscar race and the state of the supporting actor race. We are going to start here with my brother in arms, Mr. Shawn Jackson.
To preface this, I think the supporting actor race this year is really exciting. There are so many. I have a lot of honorable mentions too. So supporting actor is really interesting this year. And I don't know if there's really like a number one for sure pick going in, at least today. But I'm going to start with my number 5, and that is Dominic Sessa for The Holdovers. Almost said The Hangover. Number 4, Charles Melton for May December. Number 3, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. Number 2, Ryan Gosling for Barbie. And number 1, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer.
Wow, yeah. You have a very different list than mine. And a very different list. A very different list when you compare it to a lot of other Oscar pundits. Yet, that's why I love you, Shawn. I want to talk to you about Sessa for a second.
Yes.
And why I think Sessa is not making it. And I think it has to do with Sessa's first film being The Holdover. And I feel like the Academy
I'm okay with that.
Something up under his wings before getting him some prestige.
I mean, you can say that, but there's also like Kevin Wallace, who got it for Beast of the Southern Wild, and Haley Steinfeld for True Grit. So I think that there is an argument that yes, it's their first film, but I don't really buy it because sometimes there's Lupita Nyong'o for 12 Years a Slave. So I think there's an argument for the fact that those are all actresses, and maybe with actors, they like to give it to the people who have been around for a while, like the Robert Downey Jr.'s, Ryan Gosling's, and Robert De Niro. But the reason why I have Sessa and Melton in here is because I think that there's also these great performances, and I've seen both May, December and The Holdovers. I think these are two of the most memorable performances of the year. So I kind of like the idea of the new guys versus the veterans. And I think that we could see this happen in the Best Supporting race this year.
That is a great narrative.
Yes.
I would love like an old guard versus new guard type of Oscar race. Of
Exactly.
course. I don't see it. And not to spoil my list or anything, I think there are a lot heavier hitters in this race than Sessa. I almost said
I
Melton,
disagree.
but I think Melton has a really, really good chance to make it.
I do. I think Melton, and that's why I have Melton at 4 over Sessa. I think Melton, and May December is gaining a lot of steam right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but it's really gaining a lot of steam. And Melton is the heart of that film, and his performance will stick with you. But I feel the same way about Sessa for the holdovers. And if we're going to go in and give Giamatti and Divine Joy Randolph nominations, I have a hard time saying like, oh, let's leave Sessa out because he's also the heart of that film too.
Yes. Dan, thoughts on this?
Also with like the Haley Steinfeld and the Beast of the Southern Wild example, like he's a little older as well. So then, and that was already not a miracle, but that they got in being younger. And also, yes, Sessa went in there and went up against Paul Giamatti and like was amazing. They were both so good. So I can see it. I won't spoil my list if he may or may not be on there, or maybe in my honorable mentions. But I would love it if him or Melton, because I've seen both, and I think they're both really good.
While I enjoy Sessa and the holdovers, I still just contend that Sessa's going to be getting some breakout awards, but he's not going to make it to the Oscars, is my prediction.
Yeah, maybe. And
but breakout awards, yes. He could very well win breakout awards.
And it's amazing that he's never been in anything, not just film, but he's never been in
anything.
He's such a natural.
Yeah.
Shawn, I'll end your turn there just because there might be a couple more that we could talk on. Your honorable mentions, kind sir.
My honorable mentions. I have 4. Number 4 is our good friend Coleman Domingo for The Color Purple, who I did have at number 1 in this spot a couple months ago. Number 3 is Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction. I think there's a good chance he could sneak in here as well. Voters love him for his turn in This Is Us. So I don't know. I have a good feeling about that one. And then number 2, Mark Ruffalo. Number 1, Willem Dafoe. Both for Poor Things. And I'm sure we're going to talk about them in a little bit, so I'll stop there.
Yeah, we'll talk about them for sure. Sterling K. Brown. I am a fan of him. I've been following him since the first season of This Is Us. I loved that show. I loved him in that show. So seeing some talk here for American Fiction, where he plays Jeffrey Wright's gay brother, I believe is what it is. And he has a lot of meaty dialogue and a meaty role in that film that you come away watching American Fiction thinking of Wright and also Brown. That's what I hear, sight unseen. That's impressive.
Yes, I definitely, out of all of the performances outside of Jeffrey Wright, Sterling K. Brown is the one that keeps coming up. And I've heard that he steals the show. And whenever you hear that term, steal the show, you do think of Best Supporting Actor nomination. So I think there's a really good chance. And like I said, I mean, voters love him. He's won the Emmy before, and I don't know. I just see him getting in here as a surprise. But that's why I think he is in my honorable mentions, because it would be a surprise.
Dan, what about Domingo in The Color Purple? What do you think about Shawn's honorable mention there?
So my thing against it is that he's going to be nominated, or at least we hope he's most likely going to be nominated elsewhere. Not that you can't be nominated 2 times. So that's my biggest takeaway. I think with that. I don't know if he'll get nominated for The Color Purple.
Yeah. I think I align with you in that sense as well. He could very well be nominated for another category, and that's not going to stop him not being nominated in another category. But I just haven't heard anything about Coleman Domingo. And maybe it's just me, but after everything came out for The Color Purple, the talk seems to be elsewhere.
Yes, and you're not wrong. I've not heard a lot about Coleman Domingo's performance. I just know no matter what, Domingo always serves a great performance. So that's why he's in my honorable mention.
Gotcha. Well, guess what? I want to go to Dan now. and see what Dan predicts for Best Supporting Actor.
All right. So my number 5 is Willem Dafoe for Poor Things. My number 4 is Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. My number 3 is Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. 2 is Ryan Gosling for Barbie. And 1 is Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer.
What? Well, Dan, let's save us some time and say that me and you have the exact same list.
Wow.
The exact same list.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the exact same list. I think I want to touch on De Niro for a second because I know from the very beginning people were talking about De Niro saying this is his best performance in years, which I agree. I think this is his best performance in years. He does amazing in Killers of the Flower Moon. But I do think it's just going to be there's no real narrative for a win here.
No.
There's no real narrative for a win other than it's a good performance.
And he was snubbed for The Irishman a couple of years ago.
I mean, maybe he should have been snubbed. Just my take on that movie.
That's fair. I think he was good in that movie, though.
Not that bad. I like the old man kicks when he starts kicking them. You know, it's an 80-year-old man. And they're trying to make it seem like he's in his 20s. But aside from that, Dan, Mark Ruffalo is starting to be one of the heavy hitters in this competition. I keep hearing that. This is sight unseen. I haven't seen Poor Things yet. Can't wait for Poor Things. But what he does in this movie is something that people are saying they are surprised that Mark Ruffalo's range can even go here. Now, we understand that he's a good actor. He's been nominated before. But to go and do a role like this and not just come out hokey, but have it come out serious, it's impressive to some people. And he's been going up. I've seen people say that with enough campaigning, Ruffalo could be their number one. I'm not there yet. I'm gonna be honest, because Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer is probably my favorite supporting performance of the year. Incredible. But I'm also not ready to say that Robert Downey Jr. is a lock for a win.
No, I don't think he is yet.
Yeah, I would agree.
Thoughts, Shawn?
And I think there's a narrative, and I like this narrative a lot. If you take out Robert De Niro, who's already won multiple Oscars, you throw in Mark Ruffalo, and then you put my two new guards in, I love that. There would be 3 actors who've been nominated before but have never won, and then you have 2 newbies in the race, and that would make it such an exciting Best Supporting Actor race.
Hey, leave that to the 3rd annual Rubber Duckies. Makes a lot of sense because there's almost that little bit in me that wants to believe that De Niro could possibly get snubbed if they don't hammer in his performance, because they've been doing it for Gladstone and they've been doing it for DiCaprio, but not as much as Gladstone. But De Niro,
yeah, Gladstone's definitely the one that has been the clear person that keeps staying in the conversation. De Niro and even DiCaprio, I feel like, are in and out of the conversation along for the Killers of the Flower Moon roller coaster, because right now it's on a decline.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that as well. And then Dafoe, nobody really knows. People want to give Dafoe the nomination because for as recent as we can remember, these supporting actor categories have had double nominations. And if Dafoe doesn't make it, then depending on how your other categories look like, there's a chance that this is going to be the year where there's no double actor nomination in one single category. What do you think about that?
I'm betting against it this year. I don't think that the Poor Things boys, we'll call them that, the Poor Things boys, the Poor Boys. I don't think Willem Dafoe and Mark Ruffalo, I don't see a world right now where both of them get in. I think there's too many incredible performances that to throw both of those in from Poor Things, I would be really surprised. I am. Why are you laughing?
Oh no, I'm not laughing. No, I'm just thinking
Oh,
because
I thought you were laughing.
you're making sense. Like I want to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I also want to say it's Willem freaking Dafoe.
I know, and that's what's so difficult is with both of those guys. Willem Dafoe has the smaller performance, and it's the stranger performance. He has all that makeup on and stuff, and then Ruffalo has the bigger performance, the one with more screen time, and he's more revelatory. So it's like, which one gets in? It's a little difficult.
I like it. I like that those last two could switch or even go. It's exciting to me as we get closer to the Oscars. Before anything, before honorable mentions, we gotta touch on the Ken in the room. Mr. Ryan Gosling is at our number 2. I think he was at your number 2 as well, Shawn, correct?
Yes, he was.
Brother.
We have the same 1 and 2, all of us.
Yes, we do indeed. Brother, I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm just going to straight out say it. I'm a realist here. Downey is not a lock because Gosling with enough campaigning could freaking take it.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. I think because if you put the two side by side, Robert Downey Jr., first of all, half the people who saw the movie didn't realize that he was in it. And then they're like, oh my God, Robert Downey Jr. And I mean, right, I don't either. But then no one realized what a large role this was going to be for him. And then we were all blown away by it. But Ryan Gosling, his performance is going to stand the test of time. And it's going to be one of those performances that everyone remembers 10 years, 20 years down the line. And that is the reason why I think he could sneak in and win it.
I'm sorry to Margot Robbie. I like Margot Robbie in Barbie. I think maybe for the Rubber Ducky, she might make it. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
But when I think of Barbie, I think of Ken. Isn't that insane?
Absolutely. I think most people do.
Most people. He has a whole song.
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, no, I definitely see it. And it's not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a traditional pick for the Academy for a win. It makes sense for a nomination even. But for a win, brother, it could happen. But I'm seriously putting my chips in the powerhouse performance of Downey, ultimately.
Yeah.
I don't care if you recognize if it was Downey or not. If anything, that makes it even better. It's for a win. Like, he completely transformed that you didn't even know it was Downey. Give him the win. That's what I say.
Yeah, and as for Ryan Gosling, if Jamie Lee Curtis can get nominated and win for Everything Ever All at Once, then anyone can do it.
Well,
Ms. Deirdre, whatever her name was.
Deirdre.
And I love Jamie Lee Curtis. Didn't think
I do too. Also, just to mention, this is at this moment in time, it is literally Barb versus Inheimer. It is the Barbenheimer battle right now. And I do love that narrative as well, that the two front runners are from both of those movies.
Yeah. Barbenheimer, truly a phenomenon. Dan, let's get into your honorable mentions, and then we can get into my honorable mentions.
So I also have 4 honorable mentions. Paul Mescal at the bottom. Paul Mescal, All the Strangers. Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction. Dominic Sessa for The Holdovers. And then at the top, Charles Melton for May December.
So they're close for you.
Yes, they're very close. And Paul Mescal I put in there because it was a surprise nomination last year for After Sun. So maybe that could happen again. I hear he's not. I hear like Andrew Scott.
Andrew Scott, yeah.
I hear Andrew Scott is like the more like highlight of that of all the strangers. But Paul Mescal's good, but so who knows? That's why he's in my honorable mentions.
Yeah, and
I've even heard Jamie Bell too as the father is supposed to be really good as well. So who knows?
Yeah. I think All of Us Strangers, we compare it a lot to last year's After Sun but I think it's going to be a lot more accessible than After Sun is. Like, while After Sun was a surprise that it even made it in one category, I won't be surprised that with time, All of Us Strangers starts getting into a lot more categories than just screenplay.
I think we need to give it a couple more weeks once it's released and see how more audiences are reacting to it. But just from the reactions alone, so far, I feel like people are loving this movie. People are reduced to tears after seeing this film, and that attributes to the screenplay and the performances. I think you're right, John. I think we could see a lot more of All of Us Strangers rising to the top in the next couple of months.
As for my honorable mentions, I was making my list and I found myself having a whole bunch of honorable mentions. But I think what I was doing is I was kind of just ranking a lot of people. And so what I'm like thinking is, well, what do I think is an actual honorable mention? So I deleted a whole bunch of people, and I only have three honorable mentions. At number 8, I have Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction. We touched on this. So at number 7, Paul Mescal, All of Us Strangers. Truly, I believe that All of Us Strangers could really start chugging through. Maybe. And at number 6, Charles Melton. I'm not stupid. If it's not Defoe, it's going to be Melton. Honestly, I keep hearing too many good things about him. The fact that he is sharing the screen with Julianne Moore, he's sharing the screen with Natalie Portman, both who have won acting Oscars, and he is out acting them, to put it in those terms.
I would say they're all acting perfectly together. That's how I would say.
Okay, I haven't seen the movie. I know you two have, so you can speak to that. Yeah. But Melton, that's what I keep hearing. And I said this, I think, in our first video. I would love for it to happen because it reminds me of what happened to Austin Butler last year about this kid who was only really known for things like Riverdale, and I know he was in Riverdale, just an example. Yeah. And then he becomes an Academy Award nominated actor. I would love that again, but for Melton.
Yeah, I do too. And I mean, this performance, it deserves it. I'm sorry. I love it. I'm shocked you don't have Sessa in any of your honorable mentions at all, though. Like, did that performance not move you like it did me?
Not for a top 8, maybe a top 9.
Wow. I'm shocked.
But I come on. Holdovers, baby.
Why am I the one here? I'm the one here promoting the holdovers now, and you're the one that's not. I don't know what world we're living in, but
it's a post Saltburn world. That's what it is.
Yes, it is.
Oh, lordy lord. All right, guys. So that was pretty much it for our supporting actor conversation. So let's move on over to our predictions for Best Supporting Actress. Before I pass it to anybody, let's preface this with what everybody's been saying. This is the craziest category this year.
Is it?
Yeah. Bro, people do not know who to put onto this category. People say after Gladstone left, people just started like, this person's winning or that person's getting in. This person's not getting in. What are you going to say?
I just feel like this is kind of boring. I don't know, like the best supporting actress race, like you said, no one is like a lock, but like none of these performances are like really exciting me.
Yeah, okay. Let me be clear. I'm not saying it's exciting. I'm saying it's crazy. But
that there's just no lock inside.
Yeah, but I agree with you, Shawn. Boring might be it.
Yeah, but that's where I'm at right now.
Let's see with Dan. Dan, what's your 5 look like?
All right, my number 5 is Taraji P. Henson for The Color Purple. My number 4 is Julianne Moore for May December. 3 is Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer. 2 is Davine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers, and 1 is Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple.
Oh, let's get it. All right. So, Dad, talk to me about choosing Brooks over Divine Joy Randolph, because whether you're going on Gold Derby or whether you're going on some other ranking app, those are the two that can switch. Why Brooks?
So I do agree. I think they could switch. I'm just, since The Color Purple like reactions have started coming out, everyone has like mentioned Danielle Brooks at least. You know, just amazing in this movie. And you know, from the trailer, I thought so, but I wouldn't have put her at my number 1 like a few weeks ago before the reactions. And you know, seeing The Holdovers, Davine Joy Randolph is amazing in it. She didn't blow me away as much as I expected her to. I just wish that the kitchen scene was great, but I wish that extended, and I think that would have pushed her over to me thinking she's number 1.
Yeah, I was listening to For Your Consideration, and I forget who said it, but they were praising that kitchen scene, and I couldn't disagree more. There was so much missed opportunity in that kitchen scene. I think that kitchen scene could have made that Oscar win for Divine Joy Randolph.
I agree.
It doesn't. It just
it
drops it.
That needed to be extended, or extended outside when they're out there. You know, do something. Yeah.
It almost feels like the scene continues and they cut it. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's almost like she forgot that she just had like a little breakdown outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, if the Blu-ray comes out, I feel like that'll be a deleted scene, because the way it just goes to the outside is way too jarring for me to believe that was written in the script in such a way.
Yeah.
Might be an editing thing. Blunt. Blunt's at 3. Bro, Blunt's such a weird thing. When Shawn talks about boring, I think more than anybody in this category, unfortunately, I think Blunt's the one that I'm bored of.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it this high if it was me, like, voting, you know, but I just think that they're going to go there. But yeah, no, I agree.
This is why this whole category bothers me, because we are talking about Emily Blunt. And let me preface this by saying Emily Blunt is one of my favorite actresses working today. I absolutely love Emily Blunt. But we've talked a lot about Christopher Nolan can't write a powerful female role. And it shows exactly in his writing for this part. And she has one scene where she really gets to let everything show. And it is a great scene, but that is it. Everything else in the film, she didn't have that scene, we wouldn't be talking about her at all, I don't think. And that's why I'm like, wow, she's like so high in the ranking here, but is it really like deserving of a nomination? I don't think so.
Nah, dude. I mean, she should have gotten a nomination for A Quiet Place over this.
Yeah, absolutely. She's fantastic in A Quiet Place.
Yep.
I mean, Edge of Tomorrow, even and that's like an action movie. I know she would never get it for that, but like, she's given so many great performances, and this one, it just doesn't. I don't know.
These are the times where sometimes I hate the baiting, because you just need that one scene to get in, no matter if you were well utilized in a film or not.
Right.
And that's the time where baiting just backfires for me.
Yeah, I agree.
It's almost like Anjanou Ellis in King Richard. She had the one
brother, yes. Good analogy.
Yeah.
And then she's not really used much outside of that.
Well, she had a better kitchen scene there than Divine Joy Randolph did in The Holdover.
I was let down by. I think she's amazing, but yeah, that kitchen scene could have been so much better.
Yeah, I agree. Dan, I'll end your turn there because we might have some other ones. Mr. Dan, your honorable mentions.
All right, so I have 3. I don't know if my 8 is crazy, but I have Penelope Cruz for Ferrari. 7, Viola Davis. I know. 7, Viola Davis for Air. And 6, America Ferrera for Barbie. and I loved her monologue and everything. It's more than what I think the Academy may consider doing.
Yeah.
But maybe not. But Penelope Cruz I have because she's Penelope Cruz and the Academy seems to love her. And I hear she is really good in Ferrari, but I almost left her off completely by honorable mention.
Yeah, bro. I mean, the Academy loves Penelope Cruz. Of course, she got nominated for Parallel Mothers 2 years ago. And I believe she even got nominated for that super, like, unknown musical 9.
Yeah.
So they love her. They love her. This is possible. Okay. Dan, you are holding on to air, brother, and I appreciate you for it because I'm not gonna hold on with you. So I appreciate you for it. I'm sorry, Dan. It needs to reignite, like we were talking about yesterday. Last week. It needs to reignite because I agree with you guys and our mutual admiration for the film. But where is it right now in this competition, aside from Dan mentioning it in his list?
It's nowhere. I don't think Viola Davis is going to happen. Also, I don't think Ferrari is going to happen either. I would be shocked. It just it came out at was it Cannes that it came out in?
Maybe.
Venice?
One of those festivals, Venice, Cannes, Toronto, one of those. And it literally died right after the first day. Like, no one was talking about it after the first day that it premiered at the festival. So, I just don't see Penelope Cruz getting in at all for Ferrari. I just don't see that.
But don't you love the parallelism of Adam Driver being a race car driver? Come on now. Oscar bait.
Oh, no. Not going to happen for Driver either. Sorry, guys.
Good honorable mentions, my friends. Let's get into my list for Best Supporting Actress. At number 5, I have Julianne Moore for May December. At 4, Taraji P. Henson, Color Purple. 3, in the most boring spot, Emily Blunt. At number 2, Divine Joy Randolph, and number 1, I give it to Danielle Brooks. Let me make my case for Danielle Brooks. People that have seen The Color Purple already are singing her praises. Some people even saying that the supporting actress race is over, comparing her to Ariana DeBose in West Side Story. I'm buying into it. There is something that the Academy has toward musical films that they love to award at acting awards. We can go back to Chicago, Catherine Zeta-Jones, got it. Go back to Les Miserables, Anne Hathaway, got it. West Side Story, Ariana DeBose, got it. Lead actress this time, but La La Land, Emma Stone. And then we talked about Penelope Cruz in 9. She got nominated. They love to nominate / give the win to musical performances. I think Danielle Brooks is no different. So that's my case. That's my case.
I think it's a good case, definitely.
Yeah. And then, man, Divine Joy, and you needed 1 or 2 more scenes to get me to that number 1 spot. But there comes a point in that movie where first off, before I even say that, I love her in The Holdovers.
Yeah, I do too.
She is great in The Holdovers. I enjoy that whole ensemble. But there comes a moment in that movie where she isn't as resonant. She doesn't resonate anymore.
Yeah.
Like when they go to Boston, she kind of just disappears.
Mm-hmm.
That hurts.
This is my problem. Yeah. My problem is not with Divine Joy Randolph as a performer, because I think she is fantastic in this movie. I think it's the script. And I kind of alluded to it last time when we were talking about best screenplay. I love the screenplay, but her character, it needed to come full circle. Her character needed to be a little bit more integral to the overall story. And I don't think that was done completely. And I didn't buy into the fact that she was so important to this story that she had to even be there to begin with. and that is my struggle with it. Love her as a performer, and I just think the script might let her down a little bit.
Gotcha. The only reason I have Taraji P. Henson on, I have no real case for her. It's just the duo with Brooks. With Brooks, she's a great actress. I know that's what you're gonna say. It's like, I love Taraji P. Henson. I get it. Like, I'm with you.
Don't diss Taraji.
I'm with you. I'm just wondering, in the same way, like Coleman Domingo, if the role is gonna be as heavy as a Brooks, or maybe, I don't know, somebody else.
So you guys keep hearing Danielle Brooks, and I am hearing she steals the show, like I was talking about before. And I see a lot of that with Danielle Brooks, but I hear a lot of Taraji P. Henson in the conversation too. Okay. And so I feel like she has to be in there as well, especially with how weak this category is.
Well, she's in there for me.
Yeah.
And then 5, I have Julianne Moore. I'll leave it there just in case Shawn has her and he can touch on her. So let me get into my honorable mentions. At number 7, I have Penelope Cruz in Ferrari. We talked about it a little bit. Yeah, I'm with you, bro. Like, I don't know about that movie. Yeah, but it's Penelope Cruz. And bro, when I found out like the whole thing about 9, okay.
I know. So no one liked that movie either.
Maybe Ferrari. It could happen for Penelope Cruz. And number 6, America Ferrera. I got
you guys.
I got America Ferrera just because of that scene that everybody loves. Yeah. And if you're remembering stupid Emily Blunt's boring scene, go ahead and remember it.
It's a great scene, John.
Which one?
The scene when she's in the room with Emily Blunt.
Yes.
How was that a boring scene?
I am being facetious here.
Okay.
I am being facetious here. I'm just saying that we're comparing 2 single scenes, and America Ferrera is the one that everybody just loves. And people love Emily Blunt. I like it too. Again, guys, I was just trying to be bad humor. Sorry. But Ferrera has that scene that's like viral. It's on TikTok. I can't go on Instagram without watching that freaking scene. That could help.
That's true.
Yeah. That could help. And that's it. That's my honorable mentions, guys. Shawn, let's get with you and end this off, baby.
Number 5, I have Julianne Moore for May December. Number 4, I have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer. Number 3, I have Taraji P. Henson for The Color Purple. Number 2, I have Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. And number 1, I have Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple.
Oh, wow. So, Shawn, I want to touch on Brooks one more time, just because I remember when we first started season 3 in June, you were like, I'm not a fan of Danielle Brooks. I think she's... Did you say overrated? I don't want to put words in your mouth. But
no, I don't think she's that great in Orange is the New Black, and that's really all that I'm familiar with her in. So I don't know. I just was like, really, like Danielle Brooks over like a Coleman Domingo or a Taraji, like that's I didn't understand that narrative. But now that I'm hearing word that she steals the show and she's amazing, I am excited to see her take on a different role. So she's at my number 1. I don't know if she's going to stay there, but.
Gotcha. Wow, we have the same number 1 and number 2, just like in supporting actor.
Yeah. And I think we talked about Divine Joy Randolph enough. I think we love her, but that there just could have been a little bit more meat to that role. Julianne Moore, I just want to touch on really quickly. This is a really weird performance, John. She has a lisp.
I heard.
Yeah, and but the way that she, at first she comes off so meek and feeble, and then you realize what a twisted, crazy biatch she is. The transformation throughout the film, it's so good. To me, I would give all the May December people the awards because I think that those performances are so good. I definitely would put her over Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer. But I don't know. I still think that May December has a ways to go to really hit in this race. I feel like I don't know. What do you guys feel about May December? Do you feel like it is gaining that momentum, or do you think it has its way to go?
I think in the beginning of the season, it had just as much momentum as any other movie that wasn't even out yet. And then slowly lost steam to the point where I almost forgot entirely about the movie. And that's my most recent standing on it, because I think as we're speaking, Shawn, and I think you two can agree with it, recency bias out of the picture, you guys can agree with this, that now that people are getting to see it, now it's kind of climbing out of that trench for Melton, for Moore, maybe Portman, even though that's a stat category, maybe screenplay. You know what I mean? And these little whispers are coming out of, it's climbing out of the trenches. It's climbing out of the trenches, and people are starting to turn their heads and notice it. I don't know how far out of the trench it will get, but that's where I'm at.
I think you're so right. I think that this is a really difficult movie because it's tackling something that is so taboo, and it grosses, everybody out.
Yeah.
So I think it has to climb past that too for people to see what a great movie that it is. So I think it has a ways to go still, but I think that the talent in this film is undeniable.
That is
what do you think, Dan?
Yes. So I do agree. I think it's definitely going to gain more momentum. I think it's starting, and it's got Netflix this week, so that'll definitely help it. And yeah, the stars are amazing, all three of them. I'm with Shawn. I would love if all three of them, won something. But you have to get past, like, you feel that icky feeling, the whole movie through. It's like, oh, should I be watching this? Like, this feels weird. But
can I ask you a question as somebody who hasn't seen it? Compare that ickiness with Saltburn's ickiness. What do you mean?
Saltburn's ickiness is almost like fantasy and like off in this other realm, if that makes sense. Whereas May December's ickiness is it's real. It's based on a true story, and it hits too close to home almost. And then to the fact that it's playing it for melodrama and campiness, it feels extra icky.
And even like some of the characters act as if it's just another Sunday. What I mean, Shawn? Like, some characters act like not as bad as it is. But it's just uneasiness.
Shawn, honorable mentions, kind sir.
Number 3, America Ferrera for Barbie. I don't see this happening. I do think she gave such a great monologue, but I just don't see it happening. But she's there just still a little bit. Number 2, Jodie Foster for Nyad. I've seen the movie. I think it's just kind of a basic biopic. I think everyone loves Jodie Foster, though, and there's a chance that she gets in for Nyad.
Okay.
Not that I believe in it personally.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Number 1, both of y'all assholes, Rosamund Pike for Saltburn.
I don't see it, bro. I don't see it.
How?
Dan.
I'm sorry. I just want to say that.
I'm going to get my homie Dan on you right now.
Before Dan rips me apart, seriously, every line that she delivers is so freaking hilarious, and she is so perfect in this role. Like, no one else could do that role and be as memorable as she is in it. I'm sorry.
So maybe it's because I heard in every review, she's so funny, she's so great. She's like, and then I saw it and I barely, there's a couple of funny things that she says, and I chuckled, but I don't know, I did not find her that
Oscar worthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with Dan here. If you want to nominate her for the Rubber Ducky, Shawn, you go ahead. But I don't.
I just might, John.
I'll be listen. You think I'll be angry, but I'll be happy because I don't hate Rosamund Pike. My argument here is for the Oscars.
That's fair. I do have a hard. I have a hard time putting Saltburn in for anything besides some technical awards because I just think it is so divisive. But I think one thing everyone else besides you two can agree on is that Rosamund Pike is really good in this movie. I really do think she's fantastic.
Man, I wish I could see that. This movie really is divisive. This is the Saltburn episode of Off to the Races.
No, like no one can agree on anything with this movie. Even me and Sarah were both like, we love it, and then both of us were disagreeing about what we loved and what we didn't like about it.
I think that's the charm of the freaking movie. Anyway, we're not.
Yeah.
This is not a Saltburn review anymore.
Yeah.
So. Shawn, I appreciate your take.
Absolutely.
Oh, real quick before we end this turn, Jodie Foster, brother. I know we're on the same page here. I don't want to see it. I don't agree with anybody who is praising this performance in terms of an Oscar race. I don't see it, dude. I don't see it. I don't get it. I don't like the movie. I don't like the movie. I honestly don't. Like, it's okay at best. And her performance in the film is okay at best. At best. I don't understand.
It's not like she's reaching very far for this performance. I feel like it's very much so like Jodie Foster playing Jodie Foster, but there is such a love for her, and she's so rarely in movies. Like, just the sight of her, everyone freaks out about. So that's the reason why I have her here in the honorable mentions.
So, yeah, I'm more in the middle of both of you. I thought she was better than you thought she was, John. But I'd prefer her getting nominated over Annette Bening, to be honest. I think they're both really good in the movie, but I don't know. I thought Jodie Foster might have been a little better. I understand what you're saying, though. I don't think she should be, like, in there, though. But, yeah, she is Jodie Foster, though. Well, this was really fun. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. Comment down below. What are your predictions? And yeah, just let us know and share this video with Oscar fans and movie fans alike.
Absolutely. And join us next week, next Thursday, for a new episode of Off to the Races Season 3. We're going to be covering Best Actor, Best Actress. For Best Actress, is it going to be Stone versus Gladstone? For Best Actor, can Barry Keoghan get in for Saltburn, even though the movie's super divisive? Or is it just going to be Cooper versus DiCaprio? Let's find out next Thursday.
Well, guys, till next time, movie fans.
Bye, guys.
This is looking to be a tight one, folks.